Success University with your host, moi, Krystal Kali, also known as the most famous woman in the world. And my cats are play fighting, making weird noises, so if you hear something strange in the background, that is two brown tabbies being weirdos. So today I wanted to talk about intrapreneur versus entrepreneur. And I had never heard that term before. I bought Patrick Bet Davis's book, Your Next 5 Moves, and he talks about different ways to be successful in the beginning, right? So he talks about being an entrepreneur. So we all know what that means. We've all heard it before. It means you're a business owner. You are a CEO, something like that. He talks about, being a successful family person and making that your most important aspect of your life. And he also talks about something else, which is being an intrapreneur. And what he means by that is someone who works in an industry, typically a professional. So, for example, a CPA maybe, who works at a CPA firm, or I'm taking the most obvious careers to exemplify this, but maybe a lawyer that works at a law firm, or an engineer that works at NASA. So, of course, I guess you could be not necessarily a licensed professional or, a professional that requires so much schooling. I guess technically, if those were not options for you, you could still, for example, let's say start out at Target and you're working as just a sales associate, just regular Target hire. And if you work there long enough and you put yourself in positions to be promoted, you can become a manager and then become, a regional manager, and then work your way up and up to headquarters, and then become vice president, or who knows, become president of Target one day, right? Or CEO of Target. So intrapreneur is something that I actually think is such an amazing career track. And, it's funny because I guess intrapreneur, if you really think about it, is the traditional idea of climbing the corporate ladder, right? That's kind of what it means, but it's putting it in a more positive light. And it is also highlighting the fact that there are definitely certain corporate career tracks that give you certain advantages and perks that you would not have as an entrepreneur. And I actually am thinking of someone I know, a colleague of mine in aerospace. I won't say who it is because I didn't ask him if I could use him as an example today, but a very successful individual. He is a PhD and a professor. And he doesn't have his own business, but he's extremely successful, makes a great salary. And by great, I mean great, truly great salary, more than most small business owners that I know. And he took a more traditional path of going to school for engineering and starting off as a junior engineer and working his way up. And now he's in, upper management at his company, and he has one of the coolest lives I've seen. He gets paid vacations. He works a normal, reasonable amount of hours per week. He's not, breaking himself mentally and physically to make his salary. He's respected by his peers and other people in the industry. He, gets to travel for work and speak and work with students. And to me, that's the perfect example of an intrapreneur. He also controls his own schedule to a large degree. So, he has certain advantages because he is in upper management to be able to, move meetings around and set the meetings according to his schedule. And, he's a project manager, so he can, that's exactly what it is. It's like he's the master of his domain within a very large corporation. And, but also he has this giant safety net because the company he works for is not going to go out of business anytime soon. It's not going out of business, definitely not going out of business in the next foreseeable future. And, he gets to have a great retirement plan. And all of those things are perks and advantages that a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners don't have. During COVID, even, for example, a lot of business owners had to just shut down and were not able to recover. Maybe you had a pizza shop, or you had a local retailer, or you had a bakery, and during COVID got shut down, finances went upside down, and next thing you know, you don't have a business anymore. And then what? What do you do? You have to start all over again and start a new business. Maybe you go online, but now you have to learn new skills, or maybe you have to go into an industry that you aren't familiar with and you have to learn everything all over again, right? So for me, I just want to put out there that although I am going to be talking a lot about small businesses or not even just small business, but business in general, just because that's my educational background, I do really promote the idea of finding alternative paths to the traditional model of success, or reframing that traditional model of success in a way that, that you can see things in that other people can't see. I hear so much negativity about the rat race and climbing the corporate ladder and all that stuff. But just thinking of my colleague that I just used as an example, I would die to have his life. His life is cool. Okay, maybe not die to have his life. I guess, I could have his life. I could go back to school for engineering and then just do the same thing. But, his life is cool, man. And he doesn't have any interest in owning his own business because why? Why would he want to make less money and have less of a safety net, right? So there's just so many different ways to be successful. And I know the title and the name of this podcast and YouTube channel is Success University. So I just want to give different examples of what that means, and different examples of different income levels as well too, right? So when you think of success, I think a lot of people don't put an exact number on. I really need to learn how to turn off my notifications for this podcast. Sorry, guys. That was me, not you. And of course, it's spam. So we don't put a number usually to what we're thinking of in our mind as successful, but I really encourage you, and I'll probably make a podcast about this on its own, but I encourage you to go research realistic. Oh my God, my cats are going crazy, running up and down the stairs. I encourage you to look up data on realistic salary expectations for different industries, whether that is you wanting to open your own business. So if you want to open a restaurant in your area, I encourage you to actually go look at how much after taxes net profit you are actually going to make realistically in your area, and decide if that's enough for you. A lot of people don't realize that when you have your own business, you might be making more per year, but that's only because you're working more hours per year. So go look up how much per hour you're actually going to make if you go to school to be a CPA and you do the intrapreneur thing. Go to school to be an engineer, do the intrapreneur thing. Or how much money does a gym actually make for the principal owner or partners? And put a number to it, guys, before you start in on things and maybe get surprised. All right, until next time, remember to demonstrate excellence and bravery.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice, investment advice, or medical advice. The host is not a financial advisor nor a medical doctor or licensed therapist. Any financial or medical decisions made based on the information in this podcast are made at the listener's own risk. It is recommended that listeners consult with licensed professionals such as CPAs, financial advisors, and licensed physicians before making any investment or medical decisions. The host and creators of this podcast accept no responsibility or liability for any loss or damages incurred as a result of the information provided in this podcast.